Joe Barkenbush talked about the force of financial gravity. And to his credit, Joe confessed a weakness. Joe, I have a solution for you. I'm glad you're here today. Some of those many golf shirts filling your closet would be welcomed by the patrons of the clothing boutique. And some of that meat sitting in your freezer might make a wonderful meal at the Primavera Men's Shelter. But Joe also modeled generosity for us and challenged us all to be more generous. I will try to follow Joe's tough act and segue from generosity after a few words to stewardship. Generosity is alive and well at Christ Church. Because we are generous, 15 times a year, 100 homeless men have a tasty and nutritious dinner at the Primavera Men's Shelter. About 1,000 of our neighbors in need get food for their tables at our food bank outlet and patronize our clothing boutique for clothing articles and other things. 30 AIDS patients receive tasty desserts with their meals provided by the Southern Arizona AIDS Foundation. Over 150 people have received asylum in the United States through the work of the asylum assistance ministry. A Christian community of refugees from Central Africa and have a place to worship and gather to provide strength and support to each other, strangers in a strange land. This congregation has a history of practicing extravagant generosity. This generosity is possible because we understand what it means to be stewards of the resources that God has provided. Personally, I began this journey towards stewardship, and I want to share some of my stops along the way. I was fortunate to have one of the best jobs in the United States government. I worked for 23 years as an administrator at the National Institutes of Health. Our job at NIH was to give away other people's money, yours, to scientists and physicians across the country doing research to understand and cure all sorts of diseases. We and our partners who received your money were accountable for what they did, and we were accountable, and I think the results speak for themselves. Many of us are living today because of treatments and therapies developed by the NIH. Secondly, Dot and I were also fortunate to become friends with a Methodist minister who worked for the General Conference Board of Church and Society in the 1960s. He modeled for us stewardship in Christian action in response to two social issues at that time: the struggle for civil rights and the war in Vietnam. Both Dot and I were also brought up in families who practiced stewardship. It was easy for us, therefore, to covenant with each other that we should give back for the kingdom's work in the world off the top. We have had to adjust our giving up and down as our circumstances have changed and changed what we had, but we always made sure that the first fruits came first. I will admit we had advantages that the prodigal son, who we will talk about today, in Jesus' parable, did not have. Practicing stewardship requires practice and faith. Faith in God's promises and a mindset that you don't own your wealth, you are a steward of what you have. Thank you.